woke up in absolute darkness, the kind that shouldn't exist, especially not in my bedroom. Usually, when I tear myself from the dream world, the sunrise paints the walls. Today, it was pitch black, blacker than black. I could see nothing. Panic surged through me as I stumbled out of bed, grasping for anything within reach. Before I could find the wall with the light switch, I stubbed my toes and fell to my knees more than once. Finally, I reached it, the switch. I pressed it, on, off. Nothing. The same oppressive blackness swallowed me whole. It felt as though I had been devoured by some ancient, hellish beast. My stomach twisted. My breath came fast and shallow. Running my fingers through my hair, my hand jerked away. There was something there. Something on my face, too. I forced my hand to return, though I didn't want to touch it. I had to. If I was blind, this was the reason. I ripped it off. Light flooded my vision, stabbing into my skull like a knife. When my sight returned, I found myself holding a sleep mask. The kind that promises absolute darkness while you sleep. I had never used one before, never believed in their claims, but the proof was in my hands. The question remained, how had it ended up on my face? In my house, the only tools I'd ever used to black myself out were bottles of Russian homemade vodka, brewed by a couple of illegal immigrants on the first floor of my apartment building. Something was off. I knew it for sure when I saw the woman's head lying on my bed. Considering the lack of a body, it was good looking enough. Blonde hair, smears of lipstick on her cheek and the pillow. Or was it lipstick at all? What the hell was going on? I took a slow, shaky breath, and more importantly, where was the rest of her? That was a question worth answering. I tore through the kitchen. Nothing. Checked the guest room, same result. The bathroom, just silence and stale air. Every corner of my flat turned up empty. There was only one place left, the corridor, beyond my apartment door. With deep unease, I opened it. I braced myself before sticking my head out. What did I fear? A barrage of camera flashes from reporters? The grim faces of a police squad? Nothing. No traces of a body. No bloodstains. No signs of a struggle. I closed the door slowly, my pulse steadying, but not for long. The head was still there, resting on my pillow like some grim centerpiece. I sat beside it, debating my next move, and that's when I found the body. Under the blanket, exactly where it should have been. I ripped the blanket away and discovered the body was attached to the head by the neck. The woman was in one piece. That was unexpected. She was white, cold, unmoving, and slightly snoring. Empty bottles littered the floor. I guess they had contained the exact sleeping medicine that had knocked her out. The same medicine I must have consumed, which explained why my body felt so awful this morning. Dry throat, pounding headache. I needed to do something about this. I needed to buy new medicine to fight the after effects of the previously consumed one. Waking her up? Bad idea. If she freaked out, I'd have no answers. Just a panicked woman, a splitting headache, and possibly a police call. Better step out, clear my mind, and figure things out before making it worse. So, I collected my thoughts and left. The moment I stepped out of my building, my foot landed in something sticky. I looked down. Dark red, thick, blood. I cursed, remembering the nameless woman in my apartment. I thought she was snoring in my bed. I assumed she was alive, but I never checked her pulse. Never knew for sure. She could be as dead could be. The sounds she made might have been nothing more than gases escaping her decomposing body. And these red stains under my feet could very well be her blood. I cursed again and dropped to all fours, trying to catch the scent. A nearby pile of dog shit made that impossible. So I licked it. The stain, not the pile, just to be clear. Cherry soda, not blood. When I stood up, I noticed people watching from their windows. Others on the street were staring too. Well, yeah. From a distance, it must have looked like I'd just taste-tested dog crap. That would get some attention, at least. That's what I told myself. At first. But the farther I walked, the more they stared. As if they knew something I didn't. Or had forgotten. I tried to recall yesterday's events, but nothing came to mind. Everything felt off. I could feel it on my skin like the world itself had tilted slightly out of place. I braced myself and passed another silent observer. I didn't see him turn, but I knew he had. I felt his gaze crawling down my back. By the time I reached the store, my heart was hammering. Since morning, I hadn't heard a single person speak. Inside my apartment, it made sense the woman wasn't in any condition for conversation. But in the city, it was disturbing. The usual city noises were there. Passing cars, birds flapping their wings, music from a coffee shop. But no voices, no conversations. And I had an eerie feeling that this silence existed only around me. Inside the store, the tension thickened. The cashier, an old man with sunken eyes, stared at me the moment I entered, not with the usual hungry gaze of someone hoping for a rich customer. Something else. No greeting, no movement, just watching. I hurried inside, grabbed a cheap bottle of wine, my medicine for the next few hours, and made my way to the counter. On the way, I popped the cork with my teeth and took a few desperate gulps. A child, a frail boy with hollow cheeks, stopped in the candy aisle. His face was blank. Probably another victim of too much screen time, I told myself. But I knew better. There was more to it. Much more. He moved like he was under a spell. Other customers confirmed my suspicions. Everything around me felt like a staged play, and I was the central figure, except I wasn't supposed to know it. A game. A trap. If I wanted answers, I had to go along with it, to see when they, whoever they were, would make their move. A woman clutching a bag of rice turned her head toward me, her movements too smooth, like a puppet being repositioned. Then the stock boy. Then the man by the fridge. One by one, every single person in the store turned to face me. Damn. I could almost feel a noose tightening around my neck, but I couldn't do anything about it. Not yet. I kept my head down, gripping the bottle. When I reached the cashier, I realized I'd been holding my wallet the entire time. Maybe I didn't trust the city or the people around me. Maybe I was clinging to any shred of reality to keep my mind from cracking. I don't know. But the wallet betrayed me too. It felt wrong, too heavy. My sweaty hands trembled as I peeled it open. Something was inside. Not cash, not a card. The cashier's toothless grin widened. "I believe you have something in mind, buddy," he rasped. I looked down, already knowing what I'd see. A pile of teeth. Horse-sized, razor-sharp demon teeth, ready to fly into the old bastard's gums and rip into my throat. To tear me open, to chew me alive. But there were no teeth. Just my apartment keys. Nothing else. The wallet was open, and my stomach dropped. I shoved my left hand into my pocket, but there was no pocket. A cold realization crawled up my spine. I could feel it coming. The revelation of some nasty, terrible, unavoidable truth. I turned my head slightly and caught sight of a completely naked, middle-aged man with unkempt hair and bloodshot eyes, holding a bottle of cheap alcohol in one hand and an open wallet in the other. A man who looked exactly like me. I stared and blinked in unison with him. It was a reflection in the mirror. Since I woke up, I'd been investigating the supposedly beheaded woman, passing by dozens of people, storming into a public store completely naked, in the same flaming outfit my mom dressed me in over 50 years ago when she shoved me into this hell of a life. At the time of my birth, people found those clothes cute. Now, a completely different story. Not all one-night stands with mysterious, nameless beauties end like fairy tales with happy marriages, smart, lovely kids, and a nice kingdom to rule. Some end with an old naked ass immortalized on teenager cell phones and a couple of Puritan old ladies plotting to throw you in jail for violating every decency law in existence. While I gloomily stared at my reflection, I made a successful detective guess. I spotted, in the mirror, evidence of using very strong tablets aimed at uplifting men's powers, ones I had apparently taken last night. I had woken up to worse, far worse, twisted things clawing at the edges of reality, faces that weren't faces at all. But this was new. This was humiliating. Just standing there, completely naked, in front of so many shocked eyes. I would have preferred to fight a bloodthirsty vampire, a basilisk, giants, or any other hellish abomination, as I had many times before. A royally messed up situation, and knowing my luck, this won't even be in the top 10. At least sharing these stories keeps me from losing my mind. If you ever want to hear more, well, you know where to find me. See you next time.